Hey everybody, I think I'm live. This is my very first time doing Facebook Live, so I'm going to prove that you don't have to be perfect to do something for the first time. I wanted to show you, this is David, I'm with Tech Smart Boss. I wanted to show you something I did this weekend. In fact, I did it Saturday, and I'm just now getting around to talking about it. I had a goal of doing Facebook Live today, but I had to watch my Steelers first, knock up on those Dolphins. So go Steelers, I'm pretty happy right now. But let's talk a little bit about social media and marketing. I have an upcoming podcast where I go into some detail about this. But every business should be on social media in some form or fashion. And I kind of break down three reasons and three different goals. You have to have your goal on what you want to accomplish with social media. One, it could just be communication, kind of like a telephone. You want to be out there and you just want to broadcast information that your potential customers or someone may see. Someone may look for you to have a presence. You just want to be out there. It's just too big of a marketplace not to be in. The second one is branding. You actually have a brand. You want to continue that brand. You have customers that are engaged in your brand. There's no better way to engage with those customers than on social media. So there's that aspect. And then I would say the last one is lead generation and sales. There's a lot of people making money from social media, and it's a little bit of an art and a science to it. But that's not for everybody. Not every business is set up and designed to be able to reach an audience on social media and convert that into revenue. So you really have to take a look at what your goal is with social media in your business and then kind of figure out from that the return on investment, meaning how much time you want to put into it. So what I find as entrepreneurs, we always like to find the shiny object to go spend a lot of our time on. We really should be spending a lot more time on the things in our business that drive revenue and profit, but we're spending too much time on things like social media. So one of the things I like to do is when you're in those categories where it's not a lead generator, it's not really driving a funnel that your business lives on, but it's more in that brand and that communication side of the equation, is to automate. That's where technology can come in and really help you. So now in my primary business, Tech Smart Boss is just a little side hobby. It's just some passions I've put together. Go out to techsmartboss.com. You can learn more about me. But in my primary business, we're a software business, Yerby. It's a BI platform. And I've dabbled on social media there. Every week I share out posts. I'm in that kind of communication and marketing and branding aspect where I want to have a presence. I want to let people know that we're there. And we also generate a lot of content. I really focus on inbound marketing. So we have a lot of leads that come through Google search engine, but not as many through social media. We target more B2B, and there's different sorts of places. LinkedIn, you always hear about LinkedIn being the great B2B, but everything these days are kind of a little bit more of pay to play. But again, you want to be out there. So every week I go out there and I schedule a whole set of blog posts and content to go out through Buffer. I've been using Buffer. I still use Buffer. I love Buffer. But I've been looking for a way to automate that and make that a little bit more easier. Just for me, save time. That's what we're talking about at Tech Smart Boss is how do we save time and be more profitable and do things bigger with a better brand in our business. So there's tools out there. I mean, there's things like MeetEdgar. Let me pop out here. There's MeetEdgar that I looked at a while back, and they just recently raised their pricing. So I didn't want to pay that much. It wasn't, again, back to that ROI. Was it really worth, the $50 a month? Maybe, maybe not. One of my all-time favorites, I was an early adopter of these guys. I wish I'd kind of stayed with them, but I canceled my plan so I didn't get grandfathered into their new things. But Coschedule, if you've heard of those guys, and they're even more expensive for their kind of social media automation than MeetEdgar. So that didn't quite work real well for me. So I came across this company called Recur Post. And they have a free offering that is really, really attractive where you can pretty much you can set up 3 of your social media pages and set up 100 posts to be recurring posts for free. And so what I did is I said, I'm going to try these guys. Actually, I've been trying them out on Tech Smart Boss, and I really liked it. I said I can apply that to my software business, and that's kind of what I do here. I experiment with things so I can bring it back into my primary business. And I took the weekend. In fact, I just took a couple hours on Saturday and set it up. And I want to show you what I did because this is really powerful. I think it can really help you kind of automate things. And everything that I'm doing here is free. Now, one thing you need in order to do this is content. You got to have a website where you're generating blog articles, you're making videos, you're doing ebooks, whatever you might be doing, you've got to have some content. And that's all key to the content marketing and the inbound strategy. When you're first starting out with social media, and this is kind of what I've been doing on Tech Smart Boss, it's fine to kind of curate and go out on the internet and share other people's content, great articles that are written in your trade magazines that your users might read, things that you like, that you think others might enjoy. That's great. And you kind of build up you kind of prime the pump with your social networks. But once you get to the stage where you're generating your own content, you kind of want to go back there. And that content should be, in my opinion, at about 80% educational and about 20% marketing, 20% promotional. So you don't want to always be on social media just saying, hey, buy this, look here, go here, do that. You want to actually put out more of your educational content, let people come into you naturally and learn and build some credibility. And that's sort of my approach with content marketing. So in my software business, we don't share anybody else's content because I've got multiple years worth of content out there. But again, I was every week just going through and picking out the ones that I thought was relevant for that week and sharing it out in Buffer manually. So what I did is I went and I set up an account on Recur Post. Very easy to do. I popped into my social accounts. Now, the one limitation with the free plan, and really honestly with Recur Post right now, is they only support LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, which is great. But it'd be nice if they had, Google Plus as an option. It'd be nice if they had Instagram and Pinterest. But I know there's some issues with posting on those. You have to do offline. Anyhow, they say they're adding in more, which is wonderful. But these are the three big ones, and I'm glad they have them. So I went out there and I brought in my social accounts, as you can see here. Yerby's my software product, 5,000 Fish is my company. And if I just click here, you'll kind of see that you can come in here and add, Facebook pages and groups and LinkedIn profiles and companies, and you can add all the basic stuff. So once I added in my three, you get three with the free version. I went into my plugins here. I don't think they really should be called plugins, but this is where you can set up your URL shortener. So I'm real big. I got a lot of videos out there on YouTube and in our Facebook group about Bitly and setting up a custom URL shortener. It was very easy for me to go in here and manage and set up my Bitly shortener so that as Recur Post posts all my things out there, it's going to have my brand on it. It's going to be a shortened URL on the social networks with my brand, which I really like, and I love the fact that they have that. You can also see they got this cool thing about hashtags automatically replacing keywords. I hadn't played with that yet, but that's pretty neat. I might touch on that in a little bit. So I set up my URL shortener. Then the next thing you do is you go to your content library. Now, there's a strategy when you think about automatically posting things on your social networks. You have to think about, one, the types of content you have, the frequency of how often you want to share content from there, and the networks that you want to share that on. So for example, if you look at how I kind of set up my content library, I've got a bunch of blog posts. You'll notice that all of my categories I break up between LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter. Why do I do that? Because Twitter, as you know, has 140 characters. You got to kind of be a little concise in your messaging. On LinkedIn and Facebook, you can give a little bit more of a broad discussion, have a little bit more. Also, the hashtags are going to play a little bit more importantly on Twitter than on LinkedIn and Facebook. And there's also some things that I like in terms of image sharing and stuff. So I set up my content libraries that I've got blog posts. This is just generic information, educational, honestly. I shouldn't say generic. It's educational information I want to send on a regular basis. But then these are some things that I hadn't been doing a good enough job marketing to. These are my ebooks. So you see I've got my ebook, LinkedIn, Facebook, my ebook. I could have broken out LinkedIn and Facebook separately, but for my business, I don't need to. So I didn't do that. Then I've got a set of how-to. I've got a support site where I got lots of how-to videos on my software. Very useful. I haven't shared these on social media at all. I just hadn't gotten around to it. Now I'm going to be able to do that. Then I've got promotional things. As I mentioned, there's about 20% I want to go out there and say, hey, come do a trial, come request a demo, things like that. And then I've got other types of blog articles that I call Yerby Consideration. Those are middle of the funnel. So if you think about a funnel, you've got your audience coming in that they don't know anything about you. They just want to know educational about the industry you're in. Then there's a set of educational pieces that you want to do in your content where you're educating about your product or your service. I call those consideration type of posts. So for example, if I were to click into one of these content library items, you'll see that I went through in Saturday and I went on our website and I just basically brought in all these blog articles, and I'll explain how many I got in here before I ran out on the free plan. But you'll see here, I've got the ability to kind of come in here. It does a great job bringing in my URLs, bringing in my images. Very nice way that it does this. You'll notice that I can edit, I can copy these. When I copy, you can see I can easily, I can't do it now because I've got to upgrade, but that allows me to copy it between content library types very quickly, move it up. Now what I really like though is a shuffle. You can, as you add in new content, you can shuffle them and make them random. And I'll show you how that applies in a second. So this is a content library. So I went through and added in all my content, and those promotional things, which I had not been doing a good job on social media doing. I think this might even drive more value from my social media networks on this. You'll see I've got a whole series of content. Now there's two considerations that you want to think as you make this content library. Is one, how many items do you have in there? So if you take a look at my content library, I've got 19 things in my blog post. I've got 8 ebooks. I've got 12 promotional items. I've got 13 Yerby middle of the funnel items here. So that's where it ties into the next thing you do after you build your content is you lay out your schedule. How often you want these things to be posted automatically on your site. So you'll see there they got a great posting schedule where based on each network, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, I can go through and determine what library item I want to be posted on what day and how often. So, general best practice, I think, is on LinkedIn and Facebook, no more than 2 or 3 posts per day. Twitter, you could do a lot more because Twitter's just like a fire hose of information. It's kind of transient. So, people are not going to, actually in all of these platforms these days, it's pay for play. So organic reach is kind of out of it. So you can imagine that even if you're posting the same thing every day, not too many people on your page will see it unless they're coming back purposely to look at your page. So it's fine to post more these days when you're doing organic reach type of things. But what's nice here is I've got the ability to do a nice schedule here that says, Monday, I want a blog post and I want a promotional message. So I'm doing my promotional messages, on Mondays and Thursday, as I mentioned. I got a little one on Saturday too. So I'm not doing as much as those. Then I've got blog posts coming more often. I've got Yerby consideration posts coming more often than how-do. Now, if I look at my Twitter feed, I got a little bit more. I got blog posts going out every day, as you can see here. Now, what you want to think about is how many content items do you have in that library? If you've only got, maybe 2 items in your library, and you're setting that to post up every day, you're basically going to be just shuffling between those 2 items every other day. So there's a concept of frequency that you have to take into account when you're doing these things. But it's very easy. You'll see here if I go and kind of look at add new schedule, then all I have to do is pick my content library that you saw before, what account I want to add this to, and I can say weekly, go ahead and put this on Thursday. And this is what I really like, is auto schedule it. Now I'm going to check on that and see if that works well. This is new on this platform for me, but I'm sure they've got some algorithm to kind of base that on. So it's very nice to set your schedule up, and I've automated it. Now, beyond that, if I look at my editorial calendar, this is showing me all the upcoming stuff. So this is what went out today, and this is what's going out tomorrow. And I can kind of come in here and look at the details and see that this post will be posted on Facebook and LinkedIn because I combined those two. If I did want different posts on those platforms, which is useful because you might have followers on different platforms and you want them to see different messages. So that's always a great thing. Facebook, if you are willing to pay, then between the retargeting of people who interact with your posts and some Facebook ads, you could do some pretty cool stuff there. We'll maybe touch on that later. But really nice way to see what's coming up. And I can delete or I can post now. So I got some control over what's going out. And then you also have a set of reports where I can kind of see. Now, this is brand new. I set this up Saturday. So I don't think I have anything. Nothing's going out yet because all my stuff is queued up for later tonight or tomorrow. But I've got some good reporting capabilities, it looks like here, that I'll be able to check on. And if I wanted to, I've got this feed manager here. I could probably tie this directly into my blog feed and automate even that aspect of it a little bit. But I don't want to do that personally because when I think the reason I split these up is, let's take a look at one of my posts. If I edit this one, for example, you'll kind of see I didn't just put the title of the blog and the link to the blog. I put a little message, something to kind of gather some attention. In this case, I'm talking about the top 5 dirty secrets of self-service BI. This is a great sort of Google drives a lot of traffic to this article. So I've got here, not everything is as peaches and cream as BI vendors make it seem. You know, software vendors always try to oversell stuff. So this article we published kind of points out the dirty secrets of the industry. And that's always a big hit. But I want to put some stuff like that. So I like to put a little personality into my postings. And that, I think, gets you better traction on the social networks. If I were to go look at Twitter, you'll see something totally different because you don't have as much space. Now, when I did get a lot of these, I make a good use out of the 140 characters, but you get the idea with that. Now, what happened is that free plan limits you to just that 100 recurring posts, which is a lot, but I've got a lot of content. So, and if you notice, because of the way I did it, by putting the same post in both a Twitter content library, I kind of duplicated. So that counts as two. You know, that, even though it's the same article, they're not counting it as one, they're counting it as two because it's in two different content libraries. So I maxed out my 100 before I even got to my how-to videos. So I'm going to let this run here for probably about a week, give it a good little test on the free plan. But if I go ahead and click the upgrade here, you'll kind of see the options I have here. Even when I upgrade to the medium, and take a look at this, you know, that's going to boost up my social accounts. But honestly, with just LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, I don't have any other social. I could actually add in my 5,000 Fish Twitter account on that one. But this is the big one, 1,000. That's going to cover all of my content. And that's going to allow me to add in new, probably allow me to do some more specificity in my content library, do some cool things. And then the price yearly, $250. Come on, that's a no-brainer. The amount of time that I spent every week, and the thing is, some weeks I wouldn't get to it. So like, for example, from the holiday, I've been so busy since the holiday, I haven't even had a chance to publish to my social media accounts. So they've been blank pretty much since January, since this year started. And that's really what drove me and motivated me to finally take the time to set this up, because now I never have to worry about that again. And then this is going to supplement as I get new stuff, as I want to do other types of content. I can still use Buffer. I can still do things natively by just going to Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and posting stuff. So I'm not going to just let this be everything with my social media strategy. But I tell you what, it's going to really help me keep things moving when I get busy. And it's also going to let me get some reports and see the traffic that this generates. And then I might, amp it up to the next level. But I'm going to give this a week, and I probably definitely will upgrade to the medium. So, hey, I just wanted to share. This took me about probably 4 hours yesterday to kind of go through and set up. Hopefully, this will give you some ideas in your business. If you like this kind of stuff, go out to techsmartboss.com. Sign up for our set of free resources. I'm making videos, doing things like this all the time. Join our Facebook private group. It's tiny right now, but we're trying to build up a whole bunch of like-minded entrepreneurs that we can share tips and tricks like this on how we can leverage technology to grow our business a little bit better. You don't have to be super technical. You just have to have the vision on how you could do things better in your business if there was a piece of technology out there that could help you automate a process that's already working. So I'm going to go ahead and now, that's my first Facebook Live. Let's see how I can cut this off. I think that's it. Great. Have a blessed night. I'll talk to you soon.